Alrighty, YouTube Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. So the Patriots have waived cornerback Jack Jones. I believe they did this yesterday, or maybe they did it today. Either way, they released him. And to be honest, knowing how he played, yeah, they waived him yesterday, actually around this time. But knowing how he played last year for the New England Patriots, it's surprising that they moved on from him so quick. Now, he did miss curfew on November 4th, the night before the game against the Washington Commanders, which, I mean, you miss curfew on a Bill Belichick team, and you're definitely facing some type of consequence. I believe that the New England Patriots had him as a healthy scratch that game against the Commanders as well. And then in the past, he's also had a gun charge that was dropped. But look, when you're playing for a guy like Bill Belichick, you have to you got to expect him to hold you to high standards. From past players' interviews that played for the New England Patriots, it seems like Bill Belichick kind of runs that organization and team as a military almost. And it's basically all ball. Like, there's no screwing around. But I also think, in a way, too, that's why the New England Patriots have been so dominant, or were so dominant, and they had Tom Brady and whatnot. Now, I think you can definitely argue that a lot of that was strictly Tom Brady and having Tom Brady. But all in all, the way Bill Belichick runs that team, it's serious. It's strictly all ball, no BS. And I guess when you get a gun charge against you, and then, on top of that gun charge, you miss curfew. Again, the gun charge was dropped, but I'm just saying, in the grand aspect of things, it seems like all of that happening kind of led to his release. So I guess that brings me to the question, should the 49ers claim him off waivers? Because it seems like a decent quality young cornerback is going to be on the waivers, and the 49ers will have a chance to claim him. He had a great rookie season. He had a very, very promising rookie season for the New England Patriots. Obviously, with the 49ers, they do not have a quality cornerback three. They have Isaiah Oliver and Ambry Thomas, and it seems like this year both have been kind of liabilities. Now, I got to give credit to Ambry Thomas, though. Ambry Thomas, I think, has had a decent career for the 49ers since he was drafted by them. Going back to the Week 17 game last year, I believe, or maybe the year prior. I think it was the year prior. So a couple seasons ago, the 49ers beat the LA Rams in Los Angeles, I believe, to either clinch the playoffs or clinch the NFC West to win the NFC West. I believe it may have been both. But either way, you guys probably know what game I'm talking about, when Ambry Thomas had the interception on Odell Beckham Jr., when Matthew Stafford lobbed one up. That's one of the I guess, vivid memories, and that's kind of one of the things I always think about when I think about Ambry Thomas. Aside from that, though, he's had a great career for the 49ers, I think. There's been mistakes and whatnot, but how about Sunday's game versus the Jaguars, when he had a forced fumble on Christian Kirk, then returned it for like a 90-yard touchdown, and it got called back because Talanoa Hufanga was out of bounds, laying on the ground with Ambry Thomas, and he touched him before Ambry Thomas got up, so the touchdown came back, which was bullshit. I covered that in my post-game thoughts video, but I thought that was absolutely absurd. I think you can't call that back. I don't think there's enough in order for you to call that back. But either way, the 49ers kicked the daylight out of the Jaguars, so I guess in a way it didn't matter. But Ambry Thomas has made some great plays, and he played very, very well against the Jaguars 2 days ago on Sunday. So, it seems like, I think, Jack Jones, I guess you could say, is more of a... I guess when you look at his career so far, with the New England Patriots last year, obviously that promising rookie season, seems like Jack Jones, it's kind of not a liability compared to Ambry Thomas and Isaiah Oliver. He started 13 games. He's intercepted 2 passes and gave up a quarterback rating of just 64.8. Obviously, this year he slipped a bit. He's only started 5 games, and he's allowed a quarterback rating of 106.1, but he's still better than, I think, Isaiah Oliver and Ambry Thomas. I think that's pretty safe to say. Now, as far as Jack Jones, obviously there's always going to be some concerns. I mean, like I said, I brought up the gun charge that he had dropped. I brought up, him missing curfew, so it seems like he needs a little bit of discipline. And another thing too is there's never no excuse to miss curfew or, to get a gun charge. Again, that gun charge was dropped, I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of that, when you're on a team that, is 2-8 now? When you're on a team that's 2-8, you're not winning, things like that aren't surprising to happen, like in terms of like missing curfew and things of that nature. Now, that's still no excuse. I don't care if your team hasn't won a game. You still have to have some sense of discipline. But at the end of the day, man, like Jack Jones is a quality corner. He's still very young. As long as he can stay disciplined and stay out of trouble, this guy could have a great career in the NFL. So I think the 49ers will have a chance to land Jack Jones because they are low in the waiver order, and he's a good player who most likely will get claimed by a team that's higher in the waiver order. But I definitely think if there's a chance for the 49ers to claim him, if he falls to the 49ers in that waiver order, I think you have to take a shot on him. Look, the 49ers' weakest part of the team has been cornerback all season. The 49ers secondary played extremely well against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, but I think a lot of that good play had to do with the 49ers defensive line finally waking up and getting home. But I think Jack Jones is a guy that is probably more of a safer option over guys like Isaiah Oliver and Ambry Thomas. And to be honest, Isaiah Oliver has disappointed me pretty badly in particular. I loved him when he was in Atlanta. I thought when the 49ers signed him that he could come in and immediately be, a difference maker in that secondary, but he's been pretty underwhelming. I think it's pretty safe to say that, Isaiah Oliver's been awful underwhelming. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean like the 49ers should move on from him. Now, as far as like what his future holds in San Francisco, that's a completely different story. But at the end of the day, you get a guy like Jack Jones that can come in here and guard outside the numbers well. He's a taller physical corner. I think it's a no-brainer. Again, I think with where the 49ers are at in the waiver order, it's probably going to be there's probably going to be a slim chance, but I think if that opportunity rises and you can go out and get him, and if he falls to you, I think you have to take a shot on him. Again, 49ers' weakest part of the team is cornerback. I don't think there's another part of this team or position on this team that needs more depth than cornerback. So yeah, absolutely no-brainer if he falls to you on the waiver order. We'll see what happens, but I definitely think it was surprising when I first seen the news about Jack Jones being released. I thought it was surprising, to be honest. I get the curfew thing. I get the gun charge that was dropped. Kind of seems like he's not as disciplined as they want him to be, and that was probably obviously a big deciding factor in going into releasing him. But overall, man, you get a guy like him, tall physical corner, can guard outside the numbers, that boosts your secondary. So, again, slim chance the 49ers are able to get him if he falls, or unless he falls. But I think if he's there, I think you got to take a shot on him and go out and grab him.